What's up, YouTube?
Welcome to Control Room. Oh, my bad. You paused last time.
Well, see, because I wasn't right into the flow.
All right.
We're gonna get into the flow.
All right.
Anyways, welcome to the Control Room.
I'm David.
It's Aaron. Misengaged today, but he's a putz. So
Yeah, he's out sick. We love you, Gage, but not really.
yeah, as you're saying, not really. I mean, your brother Brandon was way better at Call of Duty than you were.
Wow.
I played with that guy for like 8 hours the other night.
Yeah, did it get intimate?
It got a little weird. Not gonna lie, it's about as weird as me and Gage.
Oh, man.
But to find out that kid has only been playing for like 2 days and already like level 50, I'm like, ooh, you got no life, bro. I guess he was setting up to start nights or some shit.
Yeah. You know how it goes. Like tonight, I'll probably play a lot.
Oh yeah, I'll be up all night once I wake up. Let's see, some of our topics today. We're going to be talking about some day one drama. Start that off. The other day, I seen, I guess, Rockstar had launched Red Dead like 4 days ago, I think it was.
Yeah, it was Tuesday, I believe.
And what an absolute disaster of a launch.
Yeah.
On PC, by the way. PC.
Yeah, launched on PC, and it was a complete disaster. They had... Honestly, if you look at the recommended settings, hoping that you're going to have a smooth experience, apparently that's not true. Apparently you need the top end of everything to run that game worth a dang.
Right?
And that's unfortunate. And that's been a common occurrence with titles, AAA titles particularly.
Yeah. AAA titles coming from AAA brands. I mean, come on now. Like, who has money to go out and spend $1,500 on a new graphics card to play a game?
Yeah. And that's the thing. You need to have a RTX 2080 to get the kind of performance that you want.
Is it the regular 2080 or was it the overclocked 2080?
I was seeing the 2080 just based on...
There's a huge difference in price when you get that overclocked.
But if you're playing the single player mode, you can get by with their recommended settings. You're going to only get 40, 50 frames apparently pretty regularly, but...
Yeah.
And a single player title, that's acceptable, but it's not acceptable that they tout this game as having 4K, 60 plus frames, and then launch, and everybody's like, yeah, I can't hardly run this.
Right, I can't get play. I seen the error message was Rockstar launcher failed to connect or whatever it was. I'm like, how do AAA games, do this? It's ridiculous. I understand that you might not necessarily account for all the traffic, but come on, you're Rockstar or you're Infinity Ward or you're... Even when Elder Scrolls Online launched, you're huge companies.
And some of that's just not anticipating the load. In the case of Modern Warfare, it's a cross-platform, everybody bogging down the same servers.
Yeah,
they may not have anticipated.
I'll give Infinity Ward that one. That's a huge... And they fixed it, like, almost right away. It was only a bad time for, a couple hours. And then you got in,
yeah,
right? Cause I was watching Twitter feeds of hashtag Modern Warfare, sucks. But it was just nonstop. Like, oh, this is what we're looking at, and waiting to log in, and then they fixed it rather quickly. But you got Rockstar, who's still 4 days out, is still having problems.
Yeah, and theirs is gonna take a bigger patch, I think, bigger fix. Repairing that much. On a poor optimization front, usually is going to take a week or two.
Right. But see, the thing is, though, they already had those problems when Red Dead Online launched for the consoles.
This is true.
Unfortunately, you already know your issues, and you still didn't fix them.
Yeah, unfortunately, they did have the same problems there, and that was across both the standard and the premium versions of the consoles.
Yeah.
That's not acceptable.
And while we're at it, let's talk about the fact that Rockstar, what the hell are you doing still not launching PC at the same time as your consoles? We're tired of buying your games 3 times.
That's all it is their games are good enough people will buy them multiple times. Not this time. I waited.
See,
I still haven't bought actually Red Dead 2, but
I bought Red Dead 2, but I bought it more for my wife's enjoyment. She seemed to really get into it. And she played a lot of it. She even plays on Red Dead Online for PS4. I personally was waiting for the PC to come out, because I'm not buying that crap 3 times. GTA 5. 360, Xbox One, and PC? No. And you still have server issues? Come on.
Yeah, but at this point, GTA Online's doing well enough that it can live for a while, but I kind of wish it would take a dip in numbers.
Go away.
I want GTA 6.
All right, who doesn't? I mean, come on now. Biggest games we're ever waiting for: GTA 6 and Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah.
And it's still a long ways away.
So on top of that, then you have games like WWE 2K20.
Oh, God.
Have you seen the Play-Doh people?
I haven't seen the Play-Doh people, but I've been watching some videos where it shows like in ring, like people just spazzing out.
Oh man, there's one where it was like 30 seconds or a minute of gameplay, the start of a match. It started off okay, a little hitch, not terrible. The textures look all jacked up, but the people don't move terribly. And then it gets progressively worse. They're like stuttering and glitching, and it's like, why are these people still playing? A minute into a game, if that's how it's acting, I'm done.
Right? It's refund right now. They're doing so poorly that they actually are offering refunds for the game for people who like overseed that time limit where companies give you. Yeah, Steam gives you like 2 hours and you get your money back.
That's good on their part, but it's unacceptable that they launched a game.
Yeah,
a game that's a franchise.
Right, like it's not a new game coming out. It is something that you've done for years, and you're having problems with a single player game. I don't see there probably is problems with the online, but this is just
primarily
generic, an offline deal, and you still suck. Your character creation's terrible, and
2K19 for WWE, and it plays fine.
Right,
it plays
played wonderful. What the hell happened?
Yeah,
You just,
I don't know.
I mean, you took a dive on that one.
There's probably some drama there. They might have changed developer or a big chunk of team turnover. I don't know. You would think you could just recycle assets or something if you needed to get people experience, but I can't speak to that. But coming up next, we got indie games. We like to try to talk about indie games periodically. You've been playing This Land Is My Land.
Fantastic game. I was, you guys, when I first started my PC gaming, about a year ago, you guys played Ark a lot.
Yeah.
And I could never get into that because I'm not a big fan of nothing to do. Like, don't get me wrong, where's your Minecraft stuff? You got Minecraft stuff around here somewhere. Minecraft, prime example of it.
There.
Like, I like the idea, but when there's just nothing to do, like no objective, I get bored easy. So, same problem with Ark. There wasn't anything really to do other than build and try to survive, which is an objective in and of itself. But This Land Is My Land incorporates the best of like Ark's like crafting and survivability with an actual story to it. You're playing a war chief that you make yourself, and but your name actually gives you certain like abilities, which is kind of weird. So you have to like fiddle around with your names and see what you can get. But your primary objective is you have a small camp that you start with, and there's if your map was the table here, you're starting like over here, and there's an enemy forces. Well, I mean, we all know who it is, the white man. Starting over here, the whole map's blacked out except for the one little sector you have, and you can see the red slowly taking over as you are also trying to expand your territory, take over other camps, release prisoners.
So you play as the war chief?
You play as a war chief for a tribe.
So is this game is it first person, I assume?
No, I don't know if it's a first person option, but it's primarily in third person.
Okay, so you got this third person game, you're controlling one character, but at the same time it's like a real time strategy.
Yes. Yep, you can tell your camp what to do. They can go out and gather wood. They can go out on patrols. They can go attack enemy camps.
That's wicked interesting.
Yeah,
I actually didn't know that part. I just thought you played as the one.
Yeah, no, it's like a real time strategy as well. And my most frustrating part of it so far is that it's hard for me to upgrade my camp. But
now, this game is not available on Steam yet, right?
Not yet. But actually, I do believe by the end of the month it should be.
Currently, you have to back the game through their website, right?
Yeah, which has its own issues in and of itself. But I do believe it is coming to Steam very soon. I know they had said they wanted it out by the end of the year, but I also think it'll be way sooner than that. And when it hits Steam, I'm really expecting it to just blow up.
So is it multiplayer as well, or is it?
I haven't come across that. There is a oh god, what was it? You remember? You ever play Final Fantasy Online?
I did.
Okay, they had that marketplace where you can go buy stuff. It's kind of like WoW too.
Okay, so
There's that setting. Like,
so there's
to
like
it.
instant, like a. Is it more like an auction house, or is it a physical place in the game?
It's not a physical place. It is
Okay.
it's a social, like a social tab on your menu
Okay, so
that
you can
go.
like.
I think you can go buy stuff from. It's not something I've really got into because I don't want to be like. There's not microtransactions, but I also don't want to be like, oh, I'm gonna go buy that just so I can beef up.
Okay, you're looking for the individual experience. And
Yeah.
This is for people that are like wanting to grow their.
Yeah.
And have kind of like a in-game economy with
Yeah.
other players.
Yeah,
Kind
exactly.
of like when the SimCity relaunched a few years ago. You started your city, but you actually were part of a state.
Really,
Yeah, and then other people had their cities, and you could trade with them and set up services and
that
things
sounds like
like
Civilization
that. But
without the combat.
yeah, but the problem with that was it was an EA game and it was a disaster.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it had server problems. Go figure.
Yeah, but yeah, no, This Land Is My Land's a real great game. It takes the best of your survival games and adds an actual story to them. It's real interesting to play, and it's challenging. It is a real challenging game. Bears, oh my god, the bears will tear you up, and all you're armed with is a bow and arrow. And if you go kill the white man here, you can get guns, but not as like you have to really try to find ammo for those things.
So, okay, so most of the time, a lot of the indie games that we play are pretty much survival games.
Right.
Daisy, Ark, before it became a big thing. And I still enjoy Ark, but I just can't get into it just like it was that first time. Stranded Deep's another one I've been watching.
I've
Apparently
watched a lot of
it's
stuff.
getting a resurge
Right, it
in
is
popularity. I
blowing
might
up with
pick
some
it up.
people.
Personally, it looked like a good time. I watched some new gameplay on it the other day. There's still some weird things like the shark clipped into the land. But those types
It's
of
an indie
things,
game.
those types of things make those experiences
Right.
kind of fun.
Right.
It's the randomness that I enjoy. Another indie game is quite a bit older. I really hope that they make a sequel or another game as like a spiritual successor, and that was The Forest. And we've talked about The Forest before.
Oh, The Forest. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, where you're a plane crash survivor on this like island, and there's these mutants. I hate to pitch my channel, but I do have videos on my channel.
I was gonna say that.
from
Don't you
The
have some
Forest.
videos on your channel?
Yeah. And there's even like these flipping crackhead baby mutant things. It's a great time if you happen to catch that. That's another game. It's got the crafting of Ark, and it was originally designed as a single player experience. You trying to find other survivors and things
Right.
like that. But then they added a multiplayer component, and it took away from the story aspect of it. But those things were still in the game. It gave you less objective, but more freedom. And it's a good time. And the mutants, they like progressively get more difficult to deal with as you get more built up.
Right.
And they'll destroy your stuff, which is great. And I'm a big fan of Minecraft. I actually started playing again with Gwendolyn not too long ago, and we only played for a couple hours, and we got stuck on this little island in this vast ocean. We had one tree. And I'm sitting there like, man, I hope this gives me multiple sprouts because I need wood in order to
Right.
get off this stupid island.
Right.
Otherwise, we swimming.
It's a long swim.
The little turd kept breaking up my trees.
Yeah.
I was like, they're not gonna grow if you don't leave them in the ground.
Don't you have to have like skeleton bone meal to even make them things sprout though?
To do it instantly. So like I'm trying to let them grow over the
Right.
course of the normal time, and meanwhile digging holes trying to find
Something.
something,
Right? Something, please. something.
resources, iron, something. But I still need wood to get a boat to get off the stupid
Right.
island.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Minecraft's a great game. When it first came out, I was like, "Oh, cool, Legos for adults," basically.
And it fits. It used to be an indie game. Now it's one.
Yeah, now it's blown
the
up.
biggest game in the world at
Yeah.
one time. It
I mean-
might still be.
Come on now, it's on pace to try to compete with Fortnite for like most popularity. Like,
I
that's,
actually think it still has more concurrent.
I think it does
players.
too.
But that's neither
Constant
here nor
back and forth between us.
Lastly, in the spirit of Patrick Mahomes' return tomorrow, We're going to talk about football for a little bit.
Oh,
We are Chiefs fans.
huge Chiefs
We are
fans.
part of the kingdom.
I mean, you probably see me in the last video wearing that big Chiefs hoodie. Love that hoodie.
Yeah.
Except for the small pockets. That's some really small pockets. I bought it as a pullover. I was like, oh, okay, cool. One big pocket. Nope, two small pockets.
That's
My phone falls out of it all the time. But yeah, huge Chiefs fans. I'm honestly super excited to see Patrick Mahomes back. But I also kind of agree with some of the Chiefs Nation. I'm like, we could have let him go another week because don't we have a bye after this, anyways?
Yeah, so I agree. On one hand, he doesn't need to start. But you look at it, in his injury, it was a dislocated kneecap. It was the best case scenario for him.
By far.
He didn't have any ligament damage or anything like that. They sat him last week because he had like a 40% chance of re-injury. And they said that if he made it past the 21-day mark of not playing, that percentage would drop to less than 10%. So it's a real small risk. And I don't think he's going to re-injure it. I don't think... I would be cautious to put him on the field personally. But at the same time, you bring him back and he goes out there and he lights the Titans up, and we go into our bye week feeling that good,
Right.
we're going to come out on a tear.
No
That's
kidding.
how I feel. I think our defense is playing well. We had the third best run defense last week against one of the best rushers in the NFL.
Yeah. But frustrations with that being that, man, they took forever to come back to play.
You know what?
It took Patrick Mahomes going down for the defense to finally show up.
Hey, and sometimes teams get better through adversity like that. And you know, it's addition by subtraction, and now you get that piece back.
Right.
Now you have the NFL's best player
Oh, love it.
with the defense that's playing better than it has
It's on
in
fire.
years.
Right. I think last week really helped getting Chris Jones back.
Yeah, he was on a tear. Statistically, it didn't look like much a stack.
But he's that threat. You know, that's the thing about defense. You're always going to have, like, statistically, you might not look great, but that's because they don't want to come your way.
Well, it wasn't even that. He had pressure the whole game. He just
Right.
didn't necessarily make the stop. They have a good offensive line. But he had my favorite type of sack, and that's where you drive the offensive lineman into the quarterback.
Straight back into
now,
him, yep.
that's maybe not watching that. You don't want that big dude falling on your quarterback, but when your defensive player is just driving that guy back,
It's like the scene from The Blind Side. And he's like, where are
Yeah.
you taking him? I was taking him to the bus, coach. That's always great.
our secondary, despite what most people think, has been playing well pretty much all year.
Yeah.
Just not. The problem is when you got a guy like Patrick Mahomes and you put up a lot of points, the other offense starts to throw a lot, and eventually you get beat. So it's misleading. When you look at how many times other teams had to throw prior to his injury versus how many yards they could have allowed, if they were actually bad, it's different. It's not, they're allowing, what is it, 265 yards a game or
Yeah.
something like that is what it was. Well, okay, that's fine. It's a game.
Easy to do when you're throwing that much,
Yeah.
5 or 10 yard dump passes at
If they
up
were
and you're doing
truly
it
a bad
40 times.
defense, they'd be allowing 300 plus yards a
No
game.
kidding.
And they don't. It's not that bad. Actually, rush defense has been the only thing that's bad, and the Colts figured that out.
Bad game
And
to
actually, the Lions figured that out.
If they had better running backs, it would have been a bigger issue.
Yeah. And they have solid running backs. They don't have all the pieces.
They don't
like
have
the
Bell
run
or
game.
somebody like that
Yeah.
that would tear us up if we played like that.
So getting Chris Jones back, huge on the rush
Oof,
defense
right.
side of things, and then a couple of those other guys.
Right.
Like, I always mess his name up. It's not. It's Wilson, Damian Wilson. There we go. Yeah, that's the linebacker. 'Cause I always get him and Williams mixed up. I'm terrible. I'm sorry, Damian.
Yeah. we still love you, though. I think
He's been stepping up. You got Juan Thornhill, the safety. He's
Thornhill.
been playing
right.
way better than I'd expected for a first-year player. And Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger,
All right, the Honey Badger coming
looking
in.
back to form right there.
I'm a little worried, though, that we're missing Breland this week.
Yeah, but I think that's okay. You get to see how another guy's doing against a team that's not I mean, they got Ryan Tannehill starting.
Right. I mean, yeah, Tannehill, career backup.
But this week you got some other good games. Actually, not thinking of any. I know the Patriots just lost.
Yeah. So going with what you're saying, because I can't think of one. Saints and Falcons, because that is always one of the matchups you want to see, because those guys will put up 40 some odd points apiece.
You know, it's weird in that game. I'm going to pick the Falcons. And I say that only because they shuffled their staff around and changed up their offensive play calling.
Right. But that's if Matt Ryan plays.
Nah, that's also true.
I mean, being out with an
Matt
injury.
Schaub is their backup.
Yeah. Schaub's
Matt
another
Schaub's
career
like
backup.
150 years old. I was a big Matt Schaub fan when he was a starter. I felt like he got kind of done dirty at the end of his time. But he's really old.
Right.
But you know what? He hasn't had to play a lot. I imagine he could hold the fort for a game.
Yeah, a game or two. Yeah.
But the Saints defense has been solid. Really good.
Drew Brees coming off the injuries.
And Drew Brees came back last week and looked like Drew Brees.
Yep.
And he, honestly, even if Drew Brees wasn't playing, Saints would be a tough team.
Ooh,
Teddy Bridgewater was playing really well.
Right. He found his niche.
I expect the Saints to try to hold on to him.
Yeah. I honestly expect the Saints to ship off Drew Brees or let him go in the free agency this year.
Maybe. I hate when teams do that to quarterbacks, but also understand there's a business.
Right. I mean, look at the Giants holding on to Eli forever. Come on now.
Yeah, Eli will either not play for the Giants or not play at all.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up the next Broncos quarterback.
Following his brother's footsteps. But, I mean, talk about, like, the one team that's kind of surprised me this year is the 49ers.
49ers have been fantastic.
Still
all around.
undefeated. Like,
They're
come on now.
running the ball well. Garoppolo has his critics, but he's been playing well.
Yeah.
He does look shaky at times. He looks scared, but you also got to understand he had a non-contact injury last year.
Which are
I
always
imagine
worse.
that takes a long time to shake.
Yeah. Right? Like, take one bad step and you're just like, oh, I don't know if I can do that again.
And as the season gets and it goes on, and you've seen it last week, it was his coming out party. 75% completion and 4 TDs and looked flawless.
Right?
And of course that was against the Cardinals. This week it's the Seahawks, but the Seahawks defense isn't what it used to be either.
Mm-hmm.
So I expect
Legion
that
of
to
Boom.
actually be a fantastic game.
Right. I think because I do a pick thing for my in-laws, I think I actually split that game. One for each. I was like, I don't know who's gonna win this one. A little iffy
I'm
on
gonna
that.
pick the Seahawks because I think Russell Wilson's playing the best football of his career.
Yeah, I think this is gonna be what we would normally call a trap game,
Yeah.
where they're going in there so
I wouldn't
confident.
call it a trap game because the Seahawks are the Seahawks.
I'm just referring to it as like they're going in there so confident about being undefeated that I think that's going to be what does them in against a good team. Like, look at the Patriots. Patriots have been playing high school teams all year,
Yeah.
and then their first good team they played, they got whooped.
Yeah,
And
people
they got
forget the
destroyed.
Patriots had a soft schedule. That's no offense to the Bills. They are 6-2. They earned their 6-2, but they had a soft schedule.
Yeah, but historically, the Bills and Patriots have always come out on top.
Yeah, and that's no doubt there. But when the Bills played the Patriots, even though they lost, it was a close game.
Right?
I expect the Bills to continue to progress on that front. I expect the Patriots to be exposed over the next 3 or 4 more weeks because they have. Let's see, they played the Ravens. I know they have the Cowboys in there, and they have us, the Chiefs, and they have.
So I think they're the game after our
I
bye.
think they have a Minnesota game. Or maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know. I don't know the
I
schedule.
don't remember what there was like 4 games in a row where it's like I could see them winning or losing all 4 of those. The Cowboys, they're not the greatest team, but they're not a bad team.
Eat that. You got that Ellie eating that stuff up, man. What happens when you pay too many people too much money? Case in point being the freaking Ravens with Joe Flacco.
That's our time. We'd like to talk about football all day long,
Right.
but
One thing before we go. Speaking of football, Gage, play your Madden game. Way overdue for it, man. Come on.
Are we still doing that?
I've been waiting for you fools to play. Because I usually don't want to play until it's Sunday, and I'm like, oh, I kind of want to play Madden. So play your Madden game. I know you're 6, but you got time.
Alright, that's our time. Thanks for watching. You know what to do.
Right? Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Please,
Deuces.
let's get this stuff viral.